Wow. So, I just finished watching, or not just finished, I finished it a couple of hours ago, but I just finished watching the fourth episode of um of Falcon and Winter Soldier. And uh this this show is amazing. The writing is amazing. Characters are compelling. And that's exactly what I wanted to talk about today. I'm sure you've seen the title, In Defense of John Walker. Um, well, honestly, how the hell am I supposed to defend someone that does shit like this? Whew, that shit was intense. Yeah. Let me tell you how I'm gonna defend that. I can't. Yeah, frankly I cannot defend that. Now we can talk all about how whether or not his what he did was justified, because the guy that he killed does in fact work for a terrorist organization, and whether or not he likes the fact that this terrorist organization that he's working for is committing all these egregious crimes, he's not doing anything to stop it, and therefore is letting crimes like that just happen, which makes him just as bad as her, really. If you're complacent to an act of terrorism or anything like that. So whether or not he deserves it isn't really what matters, because that guy. And funny thing is that he was a Captain America fan, so this the absolute sort of I completely understand what they're trying to send out. But you also have to think about who this person was that he killed, sorry. Because whether or not that person he killed was a bad guy or a good guy isn't what matters. What matters is he's a terrorist, and he was complacent to the bombing and killing of innocent people, and is actively part of an organization that allowed that to happen. However, that does not justify what Walker did. And I actually 100% disagree with what he did. Now his partner was killed, and that might have pushed him over the edge. So it's understandable why he would go berserk, but it's not right. However, this video isn't actually to defend John Walker, as the title may put it. It's actually so that people can understand him better, and why he isn't like Captain America, and why we won't see another Captain America.
We're way past reasoning with her, unless you forgot the fact that she blew up a building with people still in it.
Sam, you walk in there cold, she could kill you, man.
And if I go in hot and the op goes wrong, more people will die.
You're gonna let him do. You're gonna let your partner walk into a room with a super soldier alone.
He's dealt with war, and he's not my partner. I used to counsel soldiers dealing with trauma, okay? This is right in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, I know, and I know those soldiers, which is why I know this is a bad idea.
Wait, John. If you can talk her down, it might be worth a try.
We'll deal with you later.
So first, he tells them we're way past reasoning with her. He says that, well, she blew up a building with people still inside it, which she did, and we as an audience witnessed it. When you commit an act of terrorism the way that happened, and innocent people died for what you claim to be a just cause, you are no longer doing what you're doing is no longer just. Before, she was stealing supplies, doing whatever, but Zemo was right. What she is a supremacist. She believes that her own ideals and wills are stronger and better than the ideals of others, and therefore will use physical and brute force to make sure she gets what she wants. They argue for, so both of them, after that, both groups argue for a bit, and then John Walker says, are you going to do this? Are you going to let your partner walk into a room with a super soldier alone? They empathize that very, very strongly. I'm sure you've noticed. In fact, we're going to see that line happen again later on. Sam then says, after a little bit of them talking, that I used to counsel soldiers. This is my wheelhouse. He has probably talked to, Sam himself is a vet. All four of these guys are soldiers. Even Zemo is a soldier. Zemo was part of special forces. All of these guys know what it's like for battle, to be in war. When Sam says this, it cuts to Battlestar, Hoskins, and he's looking down, thinking about it. And then John Walker says, I know those soldiers. All three of them have been somewhat, absolutely, in many different ways, have been affected in their line of duty. It's in how they talk, how they act. It affects them in many different ways. You have to remember that John Walker worked in hostage rescue. When you're in the military, one of the things that's immediately hammered into you is inaction. Inaction can kill you. If you're not doing anything, if you're not moving, if you're not, doing something in order to better your current situation while you're in that sort of situation, whether it's a firefight or whatever, then not doing nothing is worse than doing anything, even if that thing is the wrong thing. Because you're just sitting there like a sitting duck and you're in a bad situation. That's where he gets this idea from. Why he works in hostage rescue. That his literal tactic is to move in there quick and hard to take her out. That's what you do in hostage rescue. But that's not what you always do in hostage rescue, because Hoskins then pipes up and says, maybe we could talk her down, like going with Sam's idea. Without even any hesitation or like talking back or anything like that, John Walker is like, fine, we'll do it your way. John Walker believes in Battlestar, in Hoskins. They are partners. And that's one of the most annoying things, because I watched a bunch of reaction videos just to make sure that I'm stating what I'm about to state is correct. Everyone seems to view Hoskins or Battlestar as the side character, and he is, but he is not John Walker's sidekick. They have respect for each other. They're war buddies. They've been in the shits together. And Hoskins' counsel means a lot to John Walker, and he easily accepts it. Doesn't even hesitate.
No. This is a bad idea.
It hasn't been 10 minutes, John, just a tight.
Don't do that. Don't patronize me.
He knows what he's doing.
Going in. This is all really easy for you, isn't it? All that serum running through your veins. Barnes, your partner needs backup in there. Do you really want his blood on your hands?
In this scene, what many perceive as impatience, and it is impatience, is something that people don't really think about. Again, this guy works in hostage rescue and counterterrorism. Inaction can get you killed. When he walks up to Bucky, he uses that exact same line. Are you really sending your partner in there alone? It is quite obvious that he has been through some shit, some pretty crazy shit, that he's lost a lot of people, that he knows a lot of people have been hurt because he didn't move enough. He didn't do anything about it. And you can tell that there's something wrong with his head. It is impatience, sure, but you have to think about, where does that impatience come from? Because it doesn't come from nowhere, right? Even to Bucky, the reason that even worked on Bucky, because Bucky, if he didn't believe in John's word, would have just actually tried to stop him there, but instead Bucky let him through. Bucky understands what John is talking about. He's lost allies. He's lost friends in combat and battle. These guys are soldiers. They understand each other. Do you really want his blood on your hands? That line that he says at the end. As much as Bucky and Sam may fight with each other and, do all that kind of stuff, they are friends. They are partners. They don't want to say it, but we as an audience know they are. And John Walker is telling Bucky this because he understands. And he's also trying to use it so that he can get what he needs to do to get it done. Right? Now, is John Walker wrong in doing that? Absolutely. But also, think about it this way. We as the audience know what's happening. They don't, right? They all they know is that at this moment, Sam is talking to some very dangerous terrorists with super soldier serum in them, who have killed innocent people. Think about it, right? And John Walker's not a bad guy. He it isn't.
How long till that gets really annoying?
You're just mad that she didn't ask for yours.
Oh, it's her lies. I even got a little Battlestar logo I draw with it.
If you had the chance to take the serum, would you do it?
Hells yeah.
You wouldn't be worried about how it might change you.
I mean, power just makes a person more themselves, right? Carly Morgenthau, Steve Rogers.
And me?
You already have 3 medals of honor. You consistently make the right decisions in the heat of battle.
3 badges of excellence to make sure I never forget the worst day of my life. We both know that the things that we had to do in Afghanistan to be awarded those medals felt a long way from being right. Being cap's the first time I've had the chance to do something that actually feels right.
God, imagine how many lives we could have saved that day if we had that serum.
I know.
So this is the scene after they get their fucking ass handed to them by the Wakandans. And he's like, they're not even super soldiers, when he doesn't understand that those women were literally training to be warriors ever since they were kids, um, with advanced technology and weapons. Um, but he then asks his partner, if you had the chance to take the serum, would you take it? Hoskins says, hells yeah. And you know what? I'm sure there's a lot of people that would absolutely want to take that. But to them, there's a different reason why they want to take that serum. John Walker is already somewhat aware of the type of person that he is. And he's worried that taking the potion might change him as a person. But we all know that that's not what the potion does. We all know that's not what the super soldier serum does. We know that what it is an enhancer of both your physical and mental, prowess. If you're evil, you become more evil. If you're good, you become more good. Hoskins says it himself. He says, power makes a person more of themselves. Carly, Steve. And this is honestly something that I felt was missing in a lot of the reactions that I saw, was this conversation between these two guys. When it cut to this part, and sometimes they didn't even add this part in, it seemed like they were just ignoring the conversation that was happening between the two of these. Because I think it's easier to not understand and hate somebody than to understand and hate somebody. Hoskins has these guys were in war together. They were in the shits together. Hoskins is fully aware of all the good things that John Walker has done and all the lives that he's saved. But that's the thing. You see, there's this thing that's very common among a lot of Medal of Honor recipients. They don't believe they deserve the medal that they get. Majority of Medal of Honor recipients don't go, oh, look at me, I have a Medal of Honor, blah, 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 blah. Because they feel like what they did to deserve that was just them doing their job. They feel like what they did was the minimum of what you need to do. Even though everybody knows that isn't the case. John Walker is a person that saves lives, that helps people. And and this is something that really talks about his sort of inner psychology. He even acknowledges the many wrong things that he might have done during war. War nowadays is very different, very, very different. It's no longer good guys versus bad guys, allies versus Nazis, or the Axis or whatever. It's so easy to point at Nazis and be like, they're bad guys. They're incinerating innocent people in giant fucking ovens and putting them into camps to starve them. It's really easy to point them as bad guys. But nowadays, war is significantly more complicated and it lasts far longer. Many people aren't aware of this, but we're currently at war and have been so for almost 2 decades now. He feels like being Captain America allows him to actually help people and not just be another soldier on the field. Hoskins then says, how many lives we could have saved that day if we had that serum. These guys, all they're ever thinking about is saving people. That's all they're ever thinking about. No one seems to pick up on this when I watch reactions. Everyone is so zoomed in and zoned into the worst parts about a person that they almost forget the best parts about, or the good parts on a person. Now you see him and he's thinking about whether or not he should do it. And obviously he does, because we see later in the episode that he does use the serum. I love John Walker as a character, not as a person. The things that he's done in the show, especially that last bit, is completely out of hand. But as a character, I can really, really appreciate him. I think I'm definitely the minority in the sense that I love villains. Most people don't like villains because obviously they're evil, and that makes sense. You shouldn't like things that are evil. But it is villains that are complicated, and I wouldn't call John Walker a villain. I would call him very much so the archetype of a tragic hero or a fallen hero. A person that saved people, wants to save people, and wants to do what's right, but ends up not doing so because of tragedies. He lost what seemed like his best friend. It is so easy to hate a character without having to understand them. You can look at their actions and just say they're a bad person. That's why he did these things. But the show, and even the people that were directing and writing the show, even themselves stated, we can't just give the shield to a character that clearly doesn't deserve it. John Walker had everything. He did the work. And honestly, if he had a little bit more guidance, I do think he deserved the shield. But the reason why I've been using this exact same picture every time that you see on your screen right now is because of the fact that he is that tragic hero, the hero that falls. I've said this in my past 2 videos of Falcon Winter Soldier. His job is to fall. His job is to be villainized. That is his purpose in the story. Anyway, so I think that's about it. The one thing I do want to say is that if you're watching this video, it won't get a lot of views, but I'm posting it because these are my thoughts. But on the off chance it does get a lot of views and people see this, I just want to say, stop sending, hate messages and death threats to the actor that plays John Walker. I mean, he's a damn good actor because his job is to make us hate him, and it's working. Now, thankfully enough, the actor himself doesn't really get on the internet that much, so it doesn't really affect him. But, that's still completely out of line and absolutely childish for people to be doing that type of shit. But anyways, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. And if you disagree with me, put down in the comments.